Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the I See Old People podcast. I'm Dr. Bruce, your host. The I See Old People podcast is an exploration into aging. With me, your host. I turned 60 years old when I started this podcast. I am now 66 years old. We've been doing the podcast for 6 years. We have 4 years to go. I wanted to document and talk about the changes that go on physically, mentally, and spiritually when someone ages from 60 to 70 years old. And I think I've been pretty successful in capturing some of that, as well as some of the experiences that have been happening along the way, because we are still in the time of madness. I started the podcast in November of 2019 on my 60th birthday, and by the summer of 2020, we were certainly in the time of madness, and we continue to still be in the age of madness. It is absolutely crazy how the world has tip-top turned around, backwards, frontwards, flip-flopped. It's not the same world it was in 2019. It has changed in so many ways. And so have I. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about some of those changes as well. And try to explore a couple of issues. One of the things I talked about last time we spoke was being invisible, and how I had shaved off my goatee that I had for over 15 years, and nobody noticed. Nobody noticed in my friend group, nobody noticed in my volunteer group, nobody noticed in my family. So I was quite taken by that and started to really explore the ideas of being invisible. I was speaking to my son Michael, and it was an experience. He gave me quite an insight into it that I had never thought of. I knew that he wasn't part of the conspiracy against me that weren't noticing my change in appearance, because he lived in a whole different city. So I told him my experience of shaving off my beard and nobody noticing. And he said something that was quite insightful and made me look at it from a different perspective. What he said to me was that if you looked good when you had the goatee and you looked good when you shaved off the goatee, no one is really going to notice. People only really notice when things don't look good or when things look badly. For example, a really bad haircut, people would notice that. If I'd shaved off my goatee and I had a large visible scar that was underneath it, people would notice that. People notice things that are different. People aren't going to notice if I'm walking down the street with a nice straight back and a nice gait, but people would notice if I was walking down the street all hunched over and limping. People notice things that are wrong about you, or who are different or off about you, as opposed to noticing things that are okay about you. So that made me think a little bit about it in that perspective, that I look like an average person with my goatee. I look like an average person without my goatee. Nothing really for anybody to notice. So maybe not so much invisible. I'm not invisible. It's just that people in general tend to not notice things that are pleasant or seem normal. People tend to notice things that are unpleasant, like an unpleasant smell or an unpleasant appearance. So that was an interesting insight, and he often has these insights for me. I also spoke to him about not eating at night anymore and trying to force myself to control my appetite a little bit better. And he said, you're starting to lead a more stoic life. And that sent me on a journey into what stoicism is. And stoicism is certainly a whole philosophy where a hard work and a hard life is the way to enlightenment. So I'm going to be a little bit more stoic in my life now, and it is paying big rewards. I'm feeling incredibly better about myself since I've started to take a little bit more control. I'm enjoying another sober day here on May 3rd. Cherry blossoms are all in bloom. The fields are being planted and the first crops are coming up. We've already had our first feed of asparagus. Asparagus is always the first crop that comes up. It grows as a rhizome, so it's always in the ground, and as soon as the ground gets warm enough, it pops out and through the ground. Asparagus is the first crop, and then soon it'll be followed by strawberries. Strawberries will be coming soon, and then they all kind of flood out after that. Norfolk County is blessed to have beautiful, fertile soil, ample water supply with Lake Erie right here, and we grow just about anything you can think of, from tobacco to corn to wheat to watermelons, cantaloupes, zucchini, every vegetable you can think of, every fruit you can think of, except for citrus fruits. We're just a little bit too temperate controlled. Our winters get too cold to support citrus fruit. So we can't grow lemons. We cannot grow oranges. We cannot grow grapefruits. Now, just one zone south of here in the Niagara region, they grow peaches, lots of peaches, but we don't grow much in the way of peaches here. What we grow mostly here for fruit trees are apples, cherries, and that would be about it. Those are the two biggest fruit tree crops, apples and cherries. And I love cherry season. It's way too short, but when the cherries start coming, it's wonderful. So today I want to concentrate a little bit about more of my mental state and how things are changing with me in that way. I did a podcast a couple podcasts ago, and I talked about being a domestic engineer and how I was finding fulfillment in, doing the laundry and keeping my house clean and being kind of a household manager. And I think maybe what I was really doing was trying to convince myself that that was satisfying and that I was happy with that. And I was trying to convince myself of that by telling you, my audience, about it and telling you how happy I was. And I think on a conscious level, I really am. But on a subconscious level, something is really, really fighting. It's really incredible. I've been having these vivid dreams, very, very realistic dreams. They seem to last a long time, but who knows how long dreams last. And they're what I would call they're frustration dreams. I'm frustrated. I'm trying to find something. I'm looking for something. I want something. I'm on a journey to find it, and I'm turned around and I'm twisted around. I'll give you an example. The last one was particularly alarming to me. I woke up quite distressed from it. I was very, very frustrated when I woke up because I was still living it. In fact, I tried to go back to sleep to finish the dream, to finish this quest. And I'll give you some examples of what was happening in this dream. I'm at some type of a party, and it's near the waterfront in Toronto. And my wife says to me, we need paper plates. And the paper plates are at Yonge and Bloor, which is quite a bit north of where this party is, in the center part of the downtown area of Toronto. I don't live in Toronto. I don't know why this was said in Toronto, although I had been there recently, so maybe that was the reason. So I start out to go get these paper plates. And of course I get lost, I get twisted around, I'm in a neighborhood I can't recognize. I come out to a main street and there's no street names on the streets. I don't know where I am. I'm all twisted and turned around. I'm getting more and more frustrated, and I keep looking, and I know I've been gone a long time. And I've been sent to get these paper plates, and I've been gone this long time. And then all of a sudden I'm in this line to get food. I'm getting to get Chinese food. I'm in this lineup with a whole bunch of people. And then as I'm in the lineup, as I'm getting closer and closer to my order, getting closer to getting it, a door comes right across in front of me. And the door just blocks my way. And I'm frustrated. I don't know what's behind the door. I don't know why the door came there. And I say to somebody beside me, I say, what's going on? What's behind the door? He says he doesn't know what's behind the door. I don't know what's behind the door. Well, we know what's behind the door. Our Chinese food order is behind the door. But we're on the other side of the door, and the door just appeared. And then all of a sudden, I'm in a bank. And the person in the bank has my phone, and I can't open it. I can't open it to get instructions because I want to call my wife to tell her that I'm really late getting these plates, and I don't know how I can't get them. I'm having trouble finding the place. The wind picks up. This huge wind picks up, and it keeps blowing me, and I can't walk through this wind. I can't get through this wind to get to this fellow in the bank who has my phone. And that's kind of when I wake up. And I wake up and I'm super frustrated. And I'm upset. I go downstairs for coffee, and I'm sitting having coffee, and all I can think about is this dream. Like I said, I even tried to go back to sleep after I woke up. I want to go back in and finish this dream. I was upset all day about it. I couldn't figure out what it was about. So I did a deep dive in AI. I started asking AI about frustration dreams. And it was telling me about frustration dreams. And this is one of the few things that it talked about, saying when you're searching and searching all the time, and you have these blockages that stop you from getting where you want to go. So number one is feelings of helplessness. Okay, constantly reaching for a destination but being blocked. It's a lack of control or agency. You feel stuck, either in a job or a relationship, or where your options feel limited. Number two is a fear of failure or success, a fear of success or a fear of failure. The closer you get to something, the less you're able to get to it. One is unresolved waking conflicts. So the dream is like a persistent unread email in your subconscious, where you just keep repeating it, trying to solve this stressor that's happening in your real life, in your waking life. And the other is a searching for self. If the object you are searching for is vague or keeps changing, it may symbolize a quest for wholeness or a need to recapture a part of your identity that feels lost or neglected. And that's the one that really hit me, searching for self. So then I asked, in fact, AI asked me, are the blockages circumstantial or are they physical? And that was what was really weird, because the door and the wind were never in my previous dreams. My previous dreams, they were always circumstantial. I got lost. I got turned around. I missed the bus. I didn't get to the ferry in time, and you know, they were all timing type of things and being lost type of things. Whereas this door was a physical blockage. It was real. It was a door right in front of, a big black door right in front of me, and this wind was. I could not walk against this wind. What AI was saying to me was that the delays and the door suggests that my brain is intensifying its message. Circumstantial delays represent a general feeling of backwardness or slow progress, but a physical obstacle creates a direct confrontation. So this often happens when a deadline is approaching, a relationship or a career situation has reached a breaking point, or you are experiencing a therapeutic impasse where you are close to a breakthrough, but your mind is protecting you from the emotional truth behind it. This is an escalation in my dreams, because I've had many of these frustration dreams, but never with these physical blockages before. The other thing that was interesting to me was how I'm always looking for these menial, silly things. I'm going to get paper plates. I have to go find a pen. I have to, they're meaningless. They mean nothing. And so I asked AI about that, and there's actually something called, I'm going to see if I could say this correctly, the Sisyphus effect. Sisyphus. The Sisyphus effect is the dreams highlight the process over the result. So the frustration is the point. Your mind is practicing the feeling of being thwarted. It is less about the thing and more about the feeling that life is making simple tasks impossibly difficult. And it also says a release valve where it's quite a bit lower stakes. Okay, so I'm in this dream looking for paper plates. If I don't find the paper plates, it's not the end of the world. I wake up and I didn't find the paper plates. No big deal. Instead of my search being for the meaning of my life or like some big, giant, impactful thing. And then when I wake up and I didn't reach that, I failed to this great degree. So it's kind of like it's easier to not find your keys than it is to realize you're failing at your life's purpose. So it reduces the emotional intensity. That's like a release valve. So it was really a lot to digest. It was really heavy. It actually took a couple days before this dream and me thinking about this dream and thinking about what it meant settled down for me. But one of the conclusions that I've come to through all of this is that I really need to start asking myself some questions about what I want to do for the rest of my life. I've been blessed with good health, particularly because of the lifestyle changes that I've made in the last 6 years. What am I going to do with the rest of this good life? I'm in the winter of my life right now. So what am I going to do to spend the rest of this winter of my life? I don't think it is just being a domestic engineer and sitting on the couch reading and having a nap in the afternoon. I don't think that is my future. But I still don't know what it is. So I'm in this frustrating real life situation. So I've decided to really push my comfort zone, and I'm going to do something that I've never done before in my life. I am not going to share that with you right now because I've learned that often the sharing of what you plan on doing, and I spoke about this when I did my first solo in front of a large group of people at the variety show. I told no one about it. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to have the experience fully and real for myself and not try to get dopamine rushes from everybody being so excited about what I was going to do. So I didn't tell anyone about it. And then when I did it, I got that dopamine rush that I really deserved and I worked hard for. And the people around me got to enjoy it and experience it at the first time instead of it not being some bother that they've been hearing about for 3 months. So it's the same thing right now. I'm not going to share with you what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something that's really out of my comfort zone. I have it planned. It's going to take a few weeks to do it, and I'll report on it, of course, once I've done it, or maybe even once it's underway. But I think that it'll push me to the point of trying to come to some decisions and try to understand why I'm so frustrated, why my frustration dreams are escalating, why they're pushing me to the point where I need to try to make some kind of a decision with regards to what my future will be. So this is a turning point. Well, I started the podcast to talk about physical health and mental health and spiritual health, and this is really definitely in that mental health part of it, because although I'm physically quite fit and feel quite well, I don't feel fulfilled in the way that I feel I could be. So I am going to push the envelope as far as I really have before, and I'm going to see what the result of that is, and hopefully this search for self will be fulfilling. I hope so, and I am excited to share it with you in the future. And if you've listened till now, I love you. I really appreciate you. I think that you just really have created a wonderful part of my life, being here to share these experiences with you and be able to talk to you about these things. When I started this podcast, I would have never thought in 1,000 years that it would have such a worldwide effect. Never. I thought perhaps I would have a local audience, which I do not. I thought I would have a Canadian audience, which I do not. The only people who ever download my podcasts in Canada are in the province of Ontario. I've never had any downloads from any other province. I've had downloads from every single American state. I've had downloads from almost every South American country, every single European country. It's easier to say the countries I've never had downloads from. I've never had a download from Russia. I've never had a download from China. And I've had maybe 1 or 2 downloads from any country in Africa. I think I had one from Libya and one from Egypt, and that was years and years ago. But every European country, all Azerbaijan, Palestine, Ukraine, it's phenomenal. Romania, it's just amazing that people around the world are listening to the I See Old People podcast. I'm humbled and I'm just thrilled. And this just started a few months ago, where it was mostly an American audience. And then, maybe some people in Germany, some people in England. That was about it. And then it just took off. I mean, people in Qatar. It's just amazing that when I think about it. Saudi Arabia. So when everywhere around the world, every one of you listening, I'm so humbled that you take the time to listen to what somebody has to say in Norfolk County, Ontario. And I just really appreciate you all. I appreciate every one of you. So until next time, and I'm going to tell you about my vision quest, and I'm very excited about it. Till next time, this is Dr. Bruce signing off. Thank you for listening.